Virginia, Tim Kaine. And Senator, if you're like me, I went to bed last night with the news that Israel was conducting strikes against Iran, and there was a very real concern of this spiraling out of control. Yet we wake up and both countries are downplaying it. So how do you explain it?
John, President Biden strongly urged Israel to avoid any response once the U.S., Israel, and others very effectively defeated the missile and drone strikes that Iran launched into Israel. And that followed the Israeli attack on a consulate in Damascus that killed Iranians. The last thing we need is escalation right now. In this region, we need to de-escalate. Hostage deal, ceasefire, de-escalation. That's what we need. So yes, I was troubled when I saw that Israel had decided to wage a strike inside Iranian territory, but it seems, from what we know now, to be fairly calibrated to send a message to Iran: you launched against our soil, we can reach out and touch your soil, but we're not intending to cause great harm. And if that is the understanding now, both Iran and Israel want to show that they have capacity, but they want to de-escalate. Hopefully this will stop and there will be no more back and forth.
So relieved?
It is, yeah, yes, I am. I think I went to bed just like you, worrying what would this portend, and yet the fact that both Israel and Iran are downplaying it is a good sign. So the escalation needs to stop. In this region, Houthis firing into the Red Sea, Hezbollah firing into Israel from Lebanon, the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. What we need to see is a de-escalation, and hopefully the event overnight was Israel just showing it has a capacity, but calibrating that demonstration to avoid significant escalation.
It is a strange thing when a military strike somehow seems to calm nerves around the world, but we'll leave that for a second because the U.S. House will, we believe, vote over the next day or so on an aid package to Ukraine, to Israel, not to mention Taiwan. How much credit do you give Speaker Johnson for pushing this forward?
I am so glad that he is. I mean, we've been very frustrated in the Senate because it's taken too long. It took us too long. You know, we didn't get action in the Senate on this till February, but we have been waiting on the edge of our seats to see if the House would finally move. I'm very, very glad that the Speaker is doing it. It's in an unusual posture where he's basically taken the Senate bill, split it into three. He'll have separate votes on each of the three pieces and add in a fourth piece that the House wants, which includes some the regulation of TikTok, some sanctions on Iran that the Senate acted on in my Foreign Relations Committee the other day. But then whatever they pass, and I think they'll likely pass all four bills, it will come back to the Senate as a single bill, and we'll take it up as a single bill. The Speaker's strong words about the need to provide defense support to Israel, but also to Ukraine the other day were very powerful. And I think he is got a sense of resolve about it. And clearly the Democrats are helping him. The vote yesterday that set up this weekend vote needed Democratic votes on the Rules Committee to make it happen. Democrats supplied the votes to enable us to move forward. So I think you'll see this get out of the House in a bipartisan way this weekend.
We've got about 30 seconds left. What do you think about the fact that it's possible this costs Speaker Johnson his job?
I don't think it's going to cost him his job. I don't think the House has anyone else that could get the votes to be Speaker. And given that they don't, I don't think they'll move him aside. And I also think that Democrats, once this bill passes, Democrats would come to his aid and make sure that he's not pushed aside.
Bipartisanship, strange, but bipartisanship that would be. Senator Tim Kaine from the Foreign Relations and Armed Services Committee, particularly great to have you this morning. Thank you very much.
You bet, John. Glad to.
Sarah?
Strange but good, John. Speaking of which, just a few hours ago, Taylor